Hey yo, it's your girl Kato, and today I have on a special guest, per usual, one of the coolest people in Miami. I'm really excited for this moment. I have on YesJulz, guys.
Thank you for having me.
This
has been a long time coming.
I know. I don't think you need like a giant introduction, but I guess like an introduction for the people that live under a rock and don't know who you are.
Yeah, my name is Juliana, aka Jules, or YesJulz, and I started my career in events and nightlife, and then found that I really had a passion for the music that was playing at those events and the artists whose music we were playing, and helping those artists develop their careers and get record deals, and fell into music management, and then started realizing that we would need some money to pay for the things we needed to do, so started learning how to work with brands at that moment. And kind of just my career has been very divine. Like each step has led me to the next thing. Like in college, I went to school for broadcast journalism. If you would have asked me what I was doing, what I wanted to do then, I would say, I want to be like the next Oprah, or, I want to be like if Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah had a baby with Ryan Seacrest, like that would be me. I want to produce, I want to own content, I want to star in the content, I want to find and develop the next Kardashians, which I'll still very much probably do. But from there, so many other blessings and opportunities have come into my life. So I now have a marketing and consultancy agency.
Okay.
We do a lot of creative campaigns for artists, labels, brands. I love throwing parties and events and just holding space for like-minded people to enjoy themselves. And I'm a mom now, and I'm just trying to figure out like the next step in my journey, because the nature of like the agency business is very much like you don't know what your next meal is going to be. It could be that I'm like doing a campaign for the next presidential candidate, or doing one for Kanye West, who also might be the next presidential candidate. Like, so you never know, what's going to happen in the world of creative agencies. But I've been very blessed, and I've had an incredible team throughout my career, just amazing women. I started an all female marketing agency after working for Miami Marketing Group. So I started on the nightlife side of things, and then was interested in like how the nightlife worked and the things that were happening behind the scenes, who's booking the talent, when do we decide to do the confetti, like all of those nuances and details. And that really drove me forward towards the place that I am now.
How did YesJulz become the name? Because I've always wondered, what does YesJulz mean?
So Jules was taken on Twitter.
Okay.
And Jules 02 was taken because that's my birthday and my favorite number too. So then I really had to like take a step back and think a little bit beyond, the surface. And I was like, all right, well, what do I want to be associated with? How do I want to make people feel? What do I want to manifest for my life? And I was like, I just want people to say yes to me. Like, I just want to put it out there and manifest that I'm going to get whatever I need to get done for myself and others. And that when I want something, the universe will say yes. So I just said YesJulz, and it was available. And then it stuck.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's worked. I'm a big fan of manifestation.
I love that. So I was going to ask, so you're a big fan of manifestation. I feel like you've mentioned it a few times on your stories also.
Yeah.
What are the practices? Because most successful people that I've ever spoken to, all of them say, yes, manifestation works, but you have to actually do the work. So what does manifestation believe or mean to you? And then how do you practice it?
Yeah, well, candidly speaking, I will say I've been great at manifesting up until like the past year and a half, 2 years. I've been in like a really difficult space where it's been hard for me to truly bring myself to manifest. So I always want to be authentic with you guys, and just let you know I'm having a hard time. However, before I was having the hard time, I was able to be very focused on all of my passwords being manifestation. So that's a big like trick of mine. My Wi-Fi network is gratitude, and the passwords be present. Nice little reminder for me and my house guests.
Don't steal Jules's Wi-Fi, please.
Or whatever. If you need to take it out, it's cool. But so it's a nice reminder throughout the day. And then like my email password at one point was like Mom's New House 2016. Like it was 2015 first. I didn't get in 2015. I changed the number. It happened in 2016. So passwords, just, we're constantly putting our password in our phone and our email. We're always opening things that require a login. So why not make it something that is manifesting things that you need? So and then for me, it's like really important to surround yourself with people who don't think your dreams are too big.
Yeah.
Because that could be the single thing that determines what your life looks like moving forward. Like if you're surrounded with people who always meet your optimism and excitement with doubt, eventually you're going to start being doubtful. And so I am blessed. Like I really don't even know how I have this little thing in me where I've always been super optimistic and very imaginative and very much like, you know, I grew up in foster care. Like the things that I had were never really my things. I moved around a lot. And so like I had to develop this thing where the clothes I'm wearing aren't really the clothes that I'm wearing in my head. Like, you know, I was like rich before I had money. I was traveling before I ever got on a plane. Like I was just living in this Pisces imagination dream world, and nobody could tell me that I wasn't experiencing the things I was experiencing. It's kind of delusional, but it's a blessing because eventually it got me to where I needed to be. And it's still to this day, like I'll manifest myself a last minute reservation at Carbon. Like I will walk up to a restaurant and be like, what? I have a reservation. No, you don't. What do you mean? Check your books.
Yeah.
Figure it out. like
I have
almost,
a table here tonight.
Yeah. You know, and then it works and you make it work, you know? So just not accepting no for an answer for yourself and trying to be that yes person for others. So I think it's like very much also karma and energy exchange. I try to be as much as I can for as many people as I can, which is also draining, but that's repaid me immensely. So much more. Yeah.
I always said that limiting beliefs is a learned behavior. And it's always 100% formed and structured by your environment. And it's just like when you're a little kid and you have all these dreams when you're younger and you're like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to do this. I want to do this. And then you get to a level where people start being realistic with you. And they say, oh, you know, but what do you actually want to do for a career? Or, you know, maybe you can't be an astronaut. Or even when you're in your early 20s and you're grinding for a business that nobody believes in.
Like, what's your plan B?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, what if this doesn't work? And you're just like, well, it is going to work.
Yeah.
And then, it's a funny rabbit hole you go down. But
and I always say, like, my mom is 100% the reason why, like, I was already like this, and I think maybe that's why she ended up adopting me, was because she saw that imagination, she saw that optimism and that energy and that ability to like make things happen. And like, you know, I was even at 6 years old, I was like that.
Yeah.
And she ended up loving me and adopting me and continuing that and like really reinforcing my self-worth and being like, this is my daughter. She's going to be the first female president one day. Or like,
oh my God, I love that.
I would get sent home for arguing in school and she's like, you're going to make a great lawyer, but right now your ass is in trouble. You know? So like, she would recognize like what you did was wrong. This is going to work out for you one day. It's a talent. So don't think there's something wrong with you. It's just wrong for your setting. You're too young to be moving how you're moving right now.
Yeah. So do you remember the first time you got on a plane and where was it to?
It was to Boston when I got adopted. I met my mom here at the foster home Little Rascals in Florida. She was the supervisor who I shouldn't have had a close relationship with, but because I was a troublemaker, I was in her office a lot. And she wanted to adopt me since I was like 3 years old. And it was like a very long process of my mom being in and out of jail, being in and out of rehab, you know, she'd be clean. And then it's like, okay, the family's going to work out. And then something would happen. And then next thing you know, my mom would get a call from the social worker like, oh, do you still want that kid? You know, so years of that going back and forth. And then she was just heartbroken at one point. The last time my mom got clean and she thought there was no end in sight of that cycle. She was like, looked at her husband, my father, and she was like, let's move, let's start fresh, let's move to another city. She couldn't even stand to be in Miami knowing that I was in the situation I was in a few miles away from her. So she moved to Boston. They became foster parents there because you got to get certification with each state. Don't even get me started on the foster care system being so ridiculous. It's easier to get a gun
than to take a child into a healthy home.
Exactly. But so they adopted my brother. They got a call from the hospital in Boston, and they were like, there's a heroin addict that just had a boy, and he needs a home. They adopted my brother. And then a year later, they got the call like, hey, rights have been terminated. Do you still want her? And my mom was like, damn, we just adopted this other kid. We don't really have money like that. Like, we don't. And you have to have boys and girls separate in the household if you're fostering or adopting. Of course, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So now she had to work hard, save up, get a new place with an extra bedroom, make it work. And then once she did all that, she reached out to my aunt and uncle who were raising me at the time. And for my birthday or Christmas, it was like a celebration where you open gifts. I got a book of the United States. And I was a very ungrateful kid. Like, why the fuck are you giving me a book?
Yeah.
On my birthday, I want toys. And my aunt was like, don't be a brat. Just open the book, you know? And I'm like, I know what the states and the capitals are. Like, and I'm like flipping through the pages and I see, I'm going through and the book automatically opens to Massachusetts and there's a ticket in the book and it's a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. And so I look up at my aunt and uncle and they're crying. The only reason why I even know the word Massachusetts is because Tia Johanna, which I called her at the time, lived there. And so I look up and they're crying and they're like, honey, like it's time. Like you're going to go live with Johanna and Kenny now. And I was like, wow, no way. And I got on the plane by myself.
How old were you?
I was 8.
Okay.
And there was a storm and I was sitting in the first row and I was sitting next to an old woman and it was so scary, but I made it and I got to Boston and everybody talked funny and it was a really small town and there was snow and like things I'd never seen before and people dressed weird. They were wearing like Abercrombie and stuff. I was like, what is this place? And I definitely did not fit in and had a really hard time adjusting.
Was your first
culture there?
Was your first? I mean, of course, your reaction had a lot of fear based as a kid, but did you have a lot of excitement that you were going to go live?
I did.
With
I was
her?
excited to just like have a bed that I could call mine and a home that I could call mine and not just like have like weird men in and out of my life anymore. You know, it was stability. It was exciting. Yeah, stability.
Yeah. So. And then now you're a mom yourself, which must be exciting and different.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
What was the first thoughts on being pregnant? How did you find out?
So, it was a whirlwind. We met in May. He proposed to me in July at Rolling Loud. Mm-hmm. And I had just hosted the festival 3 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, I wake up, I feel like I got hit by a bus. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I didn't even drink last night. Why do I feel like this? And he's like, babe, you're tired. Just like rest, take the day off. You know, you just hosted a festival for the weekend. I'm like, it's Monday. I got to get to work. It's New Music Mondays. But I literally just felt so sick. So I'm like, maybe I have COVID. A lot of people got COVID at the festival. I do a COVID test. It's not COVID. Yeah. He comes home that night. I'm like craving ice cream. And then he's like, what's up with you? Like you're eating ice cream in bed. Like you feel tired. He's like, are you pregnant? And I look at him and I was like, shut up. Like, what? No. And then he went to work the next morning and I felt sick, like hungover, like, and then I threw up and I was like, oh, fuck. And I ordered on GoPuff a pregnancy test and I took the pregnancy test and like, it's so crazy. We used to be so mentally connected at this point in time where like he knew what I was thinking and I knew what he was thinking and he would call me right when I was thinking of calling him type of vibes. Like as soon as I took the test, I couldn't even process it on my own and decide how to tell him. And like before my phone was ringing, he was on his work break and he was like, hey babe, like how's the day going? And I'm like quiet and he's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, no, everything's not okay. We have a lot to talk about. And he was like, oh my God, you're pregnant. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's like, baby, this is great. Like, this is great news. And I was like, you're happy? And then he's like, yes, baby, everything's going to be okay. Like, this is a blessing. And I'm like, what? Okay. And he came home and I learned to be happy about it and was like, okay, we're going to do this. Like I had manifested, speaking of manifestation, I had just moved into a new condo in February and I had a housewarming party in April. Mm-hmm. And for the housewarming party, I invited like 20 girls over. I had wine, I had a chef come and cook, and I had a bunch of arts and crafts stuff and we made vision boards. Okay. And up until this point in my life, I'm big on vision boards and writing things down, but I always was like career oriented things only, really. Never manifested peace, never manifested love, never manifested strong friendships, like none of that. Yeah. So after doing lots of self-work on myself since COVID, it's manifestation board time. And I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to focus on love. Like I made the money, I accomplished the goals, I worked with my idols. Now I still feel like something's missing. It's because I need companionship. Let me manifest a companion. And so I cut out brides' dresses and houses and condos and put it all on the board. But I didn't get very detailed about it. Like I was like, I want somebody who's this way and this way. Like, you know, when you're thinking about somebody that you want in a relationship, you're like, oh, I want someone who's smart and funny and loves music like me and has the same interests as me or whatever. But you don't think of like, I want someone who's going to support my dreams. I want someone who's going to want to get to know my friends and family and love them like I love them. You know, these little things. So whatever, I manifested. And then that was in April. And then in May, like
back to back,
30 days later, I went rollerblading, had to go to the bathroom, stop by a friend's house on the Venetian, and there was the man of my dreams in the backyard. Like I've always been the type of person that is attracted to people like based upon energy or like they're like, you know, they're just their demeanor, how they carry themselves. So like a lot of the people that I had been attracted to in the past, like maybe weren't looks wise what people would expect me to be with or like what I would expect me to be with.
But their energy
is what got us there.
Yeah.
And Duke is like, if I could, like people would be like, all right, so then what are you attracted to? Like if I could draw the perfect man, it's like him, his eyes, his hair, his build, like everything about him. And so, so it was like love at first sight. And, you know, we met each other's families and decided, you know, we were going to do this. And it was great. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a mom, but it was terrifying.
Yeah, of course.
Because as somebody who imagined my whole life up until that point, when I tried to imagine what my life would be like moving forward, all I saw was black.
Yeah.
I saw nothing. Yeah. And I'm like, I see things, you know, like I saw Travis Scott performing in stadiums when he was still performing for 200 people crowds. Like I can see it very vividly. And so to not be able to see what was in store for me was like,
scary.
Oh shit,
crazy.
What's coming? You know, but it has been incredible. Like I wake up early. I'm an early morning person now, which I would never was.
It's awesome.
Obviously not by choice, but happy to be here, whatever. Happy to be team early bird. You know, I just also like have to be better with my boundaries for someone else now, which for whatever reason, it's easier to do when that's the case than for yourself.
Right.
And so I just feel like it's making me a better person overall. Just more responsible, more focused, more discerning. Like you could catch me anywhere before. Now it's like you will not catch me anywhere. If I'm leaving my house, I'm going somewhere, it must be for a very special reason or like a random I needed to get out.
Yeah. And I bet you spend a lot of time pouring love into things and people that only give love back to you. Cause now you're like, have to be so cautious with your time and energy. Cause you're just like, holy shit, like I have no time. So the little time I do have available needs to be like for something that's worth it. 100%. You know?
100%.
Yeah. So I have a question. What did like career wise, what went through your head after you had processed like, okay, I'm pregnant and you started getting like your little baby bump?
It was scary. I had alcohol deals at the time. I had to deal with Mamitas. I had to deal with Jägermeister. I'm like,
how am I going to do this?
Cannabis brand deals. 3 of my main clients right there that I could no longer really like once people find out I'm pregnant, post content for. Without figuring out a creative way to do it. And so I kind of just put everything on hold. I was like, okay, maybe God is saying it's my season to rest
and slow
down.
Right.
And so I tried to do that and it was really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
It was like one of the hardest periods of my life, learning how to just sit the fuck still and like be.
Yeah. How was giving birth for you?
It was a little scary because I was scheduled for a vaginal inducement. And then like somewhere along the line, the doctor started freaking out. My baby's heartbeat was like rising and they had to do like a C-section. And so I was just like, whoa, wait, it was all very hectic. Like my body's being cut, you know, but I couldn't shout out to the drugs. Couldn't feel anything. It was great.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend. I was like team natural, Queen of Fua, like Erykah Badu vibes. I was going to do like a natural home birth and really wanted it to be like a very beautiful, graceful, natural thing. But I found out 15 weeks into my pregnancy that our daughter had gastroschisis, which is like a condition where when we're born, our stomach closes around our organs, like when we're forming in our mother's stomach. And that's what the 9-month period is, like us forming like this. And sometimes like about 1,500 times a year, very rarely, it'll happen that the stomach doesn't close with all the intestines inside or the organs inside. Sorry, all the organs. And so River's stomach closed without her intestines. And so because of that, natural birth was out the window. Because I had to be at a hospital where they had specialists for this.
Right.
And so, so when I got there and then that happened and they were like, do you want to take an epidural? I was like,
yes.
Well, absolutely. And then, you know, I woke up and it was really hard to not be able to hold my daughter. Like I couldn't hold her. And she went straight to the NICU and she was there for 43 days. And I went every single day to the hospital and spent the night there 11 hours at a time. I'd take my iPad, put on Netflix, and I would just be there. But it was very eye-opening. And there was lots of like, why is this happening to me? But then there was also lots of gratitude because I would look at the babies in the stations next to River and see that we were really blessed in comparison to like what other families were going through.
Yeah. And talk about a lesson on slowing down and being like present. You really had to take a deep breath.
Imagine if I hadn't, like I wanted to force myself to work and my partner was like really adamant about minimizing any levels of stress because she was already going through things in my belly. So like really just wanted me for that reason to just like relax so that it could be all smooth. And I'm glad in hindsight, it was a fight at the time. I resented him for it at the time. But in hindsight, I'm really glad because had I ramped work up and like planned things for myself to do for once she was born, I wouldn't have been free to go to the hospital. Then I would have been feeling very guilty and torn and exhausted, spending long days and nights in the hospital and then like throwing events or
of
working
course
with Kanye or something.
No, what's the future hold for you now? I mean, your daughter is like almost 1. When does she
March 24th? I'm so excited.
So she's almost 1.
Yeah.
So now that she's getting a little bigger, are you like touching back on work events again? What is in the future for YesJulz? Is it still black or do you have a vision?
No, I have. I can see a little bit more clearly now. The rain's not gone, but I can see a little bit more clearly, and it's definitely like I spent a decade building this brand. And it would be a shame for me to just walk away from it.
Of course.
However, it's time to like morph into the next chapter. So I think, instead of throwing the kinds of events that I'm used to throwing, like, I don't want to say an elevated version of that because I love myself a good rager. And there's like, I think like life is all about balance. But, I really just want to put myself in spaces where I'm working and connecting with like-minded women. I want to provide space for mothers to connect and spend time with one another more. Just really foster the communities that I believe in and feel a part of, which is, independent artists and moms. And I want to work on campaigns that inspire. Like, I really just only want to work with like-minded individuals. I don't want to put myself in situations to be stressed out or treated poorly at this point in my career. So I'm really just like trying to figure that out. I'm like, I want to start a podcast. I want to write a book. I have so many ideas. Like, I'm bubbling. My creativity's come back. I thought that was like gone. Imagine like waking up every day and having a surplus amount of ideas. And then one day waking up and like not ideating anything. Like I was like, oh my gosh, am I not creative anymore? Like, am I not able to innovate anymore? Where did this juice go? But it's come back. And like, I went to Paris for Fashion Week to support my friend, call him Kid Super, who just showed for Louis Vuitton. And, that was like a big deal for me. Like, oh, it's my first time leaving the country. I'm going to have to leave my daughter because she doesn't have her passport, can't get in time. Like, do I really want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I do. This is somebody who I've been there for his career, his journey. And this is a huge moment. And I need this breath of fresh air. I need to be reminded of what my life was like before all of this. Yeah. And I went and I was so inspired to see people my age, my peers, like my friends, working at the highest level, you know? So it's like, okay, maybe I'm doing the next Louis Vuitton Kid Super show after party instead of a 1 a.m. rager after Rolling Loud. You know, maybe I'll still do both. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm really just trying to like figure it out. And I'm trying to get to a place where I'm okay with accepting that that's my reality and
just
not
a very
like
moldable version of you. Go with the flow.
Because that I've always been like go with the flow and roll with the punches, but I was also the type of person that by the February 1st I had all my activations for March. You know, I'm like, okay, planning, okay, South by, Coachella, Grammys, All-Star. I'm activating in all these places. I know what my year's going to look like. I know what my travel's going to look like. And you can't do that with a kid. So now I'm like, okay, I got to pick and choose my battles, which flights are worth taking, you know.
So have you
You've inspired me with your podcast. Yes, because I've been wanting to start my podcast for a while. And awesome. I've been like, I'm such a perfectionist that I actually filmed my first episode here with Brittany, who connected us.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't like the sound. There was like a couple of hiccups or whatever. And that discouraged me. And I like took it as a sign that like maybe this wasn't the right path.
Yeah.
And then I, you know, like I was feeling like that and I got down on myself. And then I'd like go on Instagram and every day I'd see your videos and of you telling us like, stop wasting your talent. Post that content. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like this is, you know, Coffee with Carly. And I'm like, wow, Carly's doing fucking podcasts at HGAB. Like it's fine. I don't have to have a Never Not Working on the Wall in the back. I don't have to have like a pink couch. Like I'm not call her daddy yet, you know. Let me just take it step by step. So thank you for just doing your thing.
Biggest
it's inspiring me
ever.
to do mine.
Oh no, that feels good. I honestly need that sometimes. Actually, when the guy was in here and he was helping me set up, and I told him every time I'm editing the videos, I hate how Coffee with Carly looks. I have to fix it, you know, like one day. But I just remember, you know, not posting content, period. And what happens is the white looks so weird because of like when you catch it on video, it's got all these lights in the background. But I spend so much time back in the day editing, not knowing how to fix it. So then I just left it and I was like, all right, fine, I'm not going to do it. Or I couldn't figure out how to fix it. And there was a lot of really wasted, really good episodes that I feel sad about, like not putting out there.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer in like sometimes God puts a message in you to share with others. And like if you lose that like second where you were supposed to inspire and you just like lost it, that's kind of like you just watching your you know, gift on this earth like leave your body. And I hated that because there were so many times where I just knew somebody needed to hear it. And I was validated by it every time, like this time where I'd post something and maybe it'd get 150 views and I'd be like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. It's super bad. And then somebody would write to me like, oh my God, thank you for saying this. I feel like I needed it. This was the message. And I was like,
there was a story I heard the other day of this guy who works for Oprah now, who was like posting videos on YouTube every single fucking day.
Yeah.
I forget what the subject was, but like had no viewers, like less than 100 viewers, but still every day woke up and posted content on this subject. And then like Oprah was traveling with a friend and like mentioned that it was like a dating advice or like love advice or something. And like mentioned she wanted to have like a segment of her show that was focused on that or something. And her friend was like, oh, I have a friend who actually.
Yeah. We'll wrap up now. Okay, thanks.
Damn.
Go ahead.
Why? Is there somebody after you?
Yeah. Damn. Don't worry. Finish your Oprah story.
And whatever, the person that was with Oprah was like, oh, I actually know someone who's a dating advice columnist. Like he just started Oprah was one of the 11 views that this guy was getting when he was consistently posting his shit every day and never gave up on himself. And now he is like on Oprah's show. You
know what they say? And I literally was doing my mini videos before you got in here. And I was like, if you have a dream or a business, the only way you're going to be better than anybody else is just consistency. It's not easy, but you just have to do it every day.
Just show up.
Yeah, just show up. And even if it's stupid, just post it. I was like, 11 views is still 11 people who saw your shit.
Even
you know?
Like yesterday, I posted the first ever skit that I've ever posted. And I'm goofy and I grew up doing skits. Good. Like I come from an acting background. Like this is actually who I have always been.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, once I became like YesJulz, I was known for like this one thing. And I didn't want to like confuse people or whatever. So I just like kind of left my goofy side and my acting side like on the table and like, never really fucked with it.
Yeah.
And for hers, you know, it's my job with them is to advocate for mental health and like speak openly about my struggles with postpartum, etc. And, you know, after doing that in a serious way for like a couple of months. You're
You
like,
did it
okay,
your
by the
way.
fourth one, or the serious way was my way also, but it gets tired. Like you want to switch it up. And I'm
Yeah,
like, all right,
yeah,
this
yeah.
month, what could I do? I need to do something different. I want to
Yeah.
touch on mental health, but I want to make it fun.
Okay.
And so I did this skit where I'm like, okay, organization is a form of self-care, you know? And I'm like, how do I say this but make it funny? And so I made this whole skit where I was like yelling at people in my house about like putting the cheese in the wrong drawer and stuff like that. And it got approved by hers and they were like, we love it. Go ahead and go live with it. But it
Amazing.
took me 2 weeks to post it. I literally posted on the last day of the month that it was due because I was like, man, how are people going to receive this? Like I was so worried about what it was, if people were going to like it, if it looked corny, if it wasn't funny. I put it up. Everybody's like, wow.
It was amazing.
Be goofy more often. Do
This
more
is fun.
skits. Like give her
Yes.
the Oscar. I'm
I
like,
saw it and I
wow.
loved it.
I'm like, I need to do this more. You know,
Ugh,
it's
well,
just doing it.
Keep inspiring, keep doing. I need to have you on again because we got cut a little short today, but this is like
It's my fault. I was late. I was having
no,
a
it's
hard day
fine.
today.
But this is honestly, this is amazing for me. You have inspired me in so many ways, more than you know. I remember like years ago when I would see your photos when you had your shaved bald head basically, and you were blonde, and I was like, she is such a badass. I don't know anyone else who could pull this off.
You would kill it.
And well, I
But
don't
you
know.
have beautiful hair though.
My
But you're
sister would
so
murder me.
gorgeous. Like
But
you're a
thank you.
muse. Like I hope you know that.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a sentimental moment after this. We're gonna cry together. But I'm so happy you took time out of your very busy schedule. I'm grateful. I was one of the things that you could make time for.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for
and
having me.
please
We
come
need to do
back.
this again.
Yes, please come
I
back.
feel bad it was so short.
No, it
but
was
no,
amazing.
coffee with Carly is amazing. We should go get real coffee
Yes,
now.
please.
Okay, cool.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
See you
Bye.
next week.